Hello and welcome to Life and DNA with Amanda and A. I'm Amanda. Please click the like button if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. And let's get started. Sorry, my glasses were way too filthy for me to see to film, and I didn't have time to clean them. So, going glasses free today. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I'll give a quick update. Today was my semaglutide, however you want to say it, my 6th shot, and so my 6th weigh-in. I lost 2 more pounds, so officially 10 whole pounds down. I've actually made my first goal of getting under a certain number that I haven't been under since right after my son was born. And so that's exciting, because if you've listened to me before, you know, any other thing I've ever tried ever since that my thyroid's kind of gone nuts, and Hashimoto's, the autoimmune condition, I have never been able to lose more than 5 pounds, and even that, I haven't been able to keep that off for very long. So I'm very excited, and had her give me the shot in my stomach this time, because last week I didn't really have the side effects. Like, I didn't feel as full, which, I mean, was okay, but I was scared I wasn't going to lose anything. So I was excited that I did, but I had her give it to me in my stomach. One, because in a few weeks I'll probably have to give myself one of my shots, and 2, just so that I don't know why putting it there does something different, but I instantly felt something this time. So I'll probably have her do that for a while. So that's that update. 2 things. One, I do want to touch on narcissism again, just because right at the moment it's something I'm having to deal with that I don't like to deal with. And 2, the reason I'm having to deal with it, we homeschool, and we're planning our daughter's 8th grade graduation. I know not everyone celebrates that milestone. When I was in public school, we did, and I had an 8th grade graduation and gave a speech and all of that. And I wanted to get to celebrate our daughter and her achievements. The past couple birthdays were special birthdays, and we didn't get to celebrate them the way that we wanted to with her. It just didn't work out with her friends the way that she wanted. And so I wanted to make sure and do something special for her. And so we've been planning that and working on that. Thankfully, our church has allowed us to use their auditorium, and my sisters are driving in, and most of the family is going to be there. So that's going to be great. And I've had to write a speech, and I'm going to have to give a speech. I haven't had to do that in decades, so that'll be interesting. And then we got a little slideshow that she put together and did a really good job on, and then she's going to give a speech. And then I'll present her, and she'll get her diploma, and my husband will hand it to her. So it ought to be nice. Then we're just going to cook out at our house and have everybody over, and hopefully have lots of fun. But where the narcissism comes in is because we left it up to our daughter whether she wanted to invite my mom and stepdad and my brothers, and she did, of course. And so we'll have to deal with my mother. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Again, now that I know what to look for, I see it, especially in TV, I see it everywhere. And then, like I mentioned before, with what is her name? Her name just totally Lindsay from Summer House. I've now seen the other two parts of the reunion, and oh my gosh, like, it's so obvious. It's so obvious. She just cannot see her part in anything. Like, everyone else sitting there could see, like, their relationship was crumbling, and that Carl was afraid to even bring anything up to her unless he had, cameras there. And, Andy Cohen even stressed to her, Carl doesn't have the authority to get the cameras there. Like, that's production. That's their call. They did that because of what they saw through the season. And that's why they were there that day. And then your relationship just fell apart because it was falling apart. And she still just could not own her part in it. It's crazy. So all of that, and then a phone call I had to have with my mother. Every time the phone rings and it's her. And that's sad. I hate that I feel that way. I hate that this is my reality now, that I have to feel that way every time I see that my mom has texted or called. It's worse when it's a phone call. Just because of the way she is. So, I know if you've heard anything about narcissism, or if you've heard anything that I've said about narcissism, you know that one of the ways to handle having to be around a narcissist is what's called gray rocking. And it's very much, that's even what I have her, when she calls, that's what pulls up, is a picture of a gray rock, so that I will remember, don't give her anything. Because she used to call me and try to like just emotionally dump all of her issues and her negative feelings that she was having about something going on in her life, and dump it all on me. She's done this all my life, even as an adult, when I wouldn't even really see her or be around her very often. She would just call me up out of the blue and just dump it all on me as if it was my fault. And then she would feel better by the end of the phone call, and I would feel like crap. I mean, I would be literally sick to my stomach, because she was upset and it was somehow my fault. And even though I couldn't understand how in the world it was my fault, but then she was fine and she was good. And then I was miserable for days, just mentally trying to figure out what was going on. So anyway, now that I know that she's a narcissist and that this is what's gonna happen if I give her even a little emotion, I do nothing. So I go gray rock. I give her, the amount of emotion that a gray rock gives you, and that is nothing. And I've never been expressive enough for her. She is extremely, I don't know. I don't even want to say, she's just very theatrical, I guess is the word. And as a kid, some people really react to that and they think, oh my goodness, she's so sweet and she's so passionate about things. As a kid, I never liked it. It was always like, it didn't seem genuine to me. And of course I would see her be very passionate and theatrical and happy and stuff, and then we would get behind closed doors, and then her true feelings would come out. And I know we all put on a happy face in public sometimes, but hers was very much theatrical. It was just very out there. And she would always say that comment on the fact that I wasn't. And well, first of all, I hated that she was like that. I hated it because it felt fake. And I hated that she expected me to be that way, because if I was to try and do that, it would be very fake. I'm just not that way unless I happen to really be excited about something. I'm not going to get excited over every little thing that happens. It's just not my personality. So she would tell me I'm more like my dad, and she would mean that as an insult, because she didn't like that my dad wasn't emotionally expressive. And the older I've gotten, the more I am extremely thankful that I am more like my dad that way. My dad is very laid back and honest and dependable, and she is none of those things. And so I'm extremely happy that now, to be compared to that. But anyway, in the phone call, a couple of different times, I got, she let me know that she wasn't happy with my reaction. Of course, that's never how she words it, but I don't care anymore. Used to, I was like, oh, then I would have let it guilt me into reacting a different way, or no, I'm just busy, so my mind was somewhere else. Nope, I don't care, because she was telling me about my 28-year-old brother, or he'll be 28 in a couple months, that still lives at home with her, has a job with my stepdad, so doesn't make a lot. It's not really a career, and that his cat died. One of many. They have a lot. It's the one I guess he liked the best. And I was just like, oh, that's sad. And she was like, oh, you didn't react like your other sister. And she was talking about the one sister who has chosen not to have kids and has animals, lots of animals instead. So her heart is there. Mine isn't. I've never really liked cats. Not that I'm not happy his cat died, but I'm not going to be emotional that a grown man's cat died either. And so it was just one of those annoying things. It was that narcissists do to oh, you didn't meet my standards in your reaction. And I was like, oh, well, guess I'm like dad that way, because my dad doesn't care for cats either. So it's yeah, I don't really care don't get me wrong, I love animals, but I wasn't giving my mom anything in that moment at all. And so I even probably downplayed how I would have felt if he would have been the one to tell me in person that, his cat died. Honestly, his feelings about it, because he isn't very emotional either, his feelings about it probably weren't as dramatic as what she was trying to portray either. Yeah, so it's just sad. So, I have a favor. If y'all could pray for me and my husband and my kids and my sisters and my dad, because we have to be around my mom and her little flying monkeys, my stepdad and my brothers. If you could pray for us, I would appreciate it. We're gonna need it. We should only have to see them just the length of the ceremony, but yeah, it's a struggle. And yeah, so I'd appreciate that. That would be awesome, because I want my daughter to enjoy her day, and I want her to feel like it's about her and not at all about my mom at all. I don't want myself or anyone else to react in a way that's going to take away from our daughter's special ceremony and her day and her time. So I'm hoping that it all goes well. And yeah, so if you could pray for us, I'd appreciate it. That'd be great. So yeah, have any of you ever put on a graduation for homeschool? If you have, and you have any tips for me, I'd appreciate it. If you could email them, my email's in the show notes, or message me on Instagram, I would appreciate it, because I've only ever done the kids' kindergarten graduations, and those we just had at our house, and just did a little something here. I've never done anything quite on this scale, and in 4 years I'll have to prepare her big graduation, and I'm kind of getting sad about that. I thought it would take forever just for this graduation to get here, but I know the next 4 years are probably going to fly by too fast. And at that same time that we're graduating her, we'll be graduating our son from 8th grade at the exact same time. So that's going to be a really hard time for me. Exciting, but hard. And so any tips you have for that, I will keep and save, because it's going to take a lot of planning for that one. Yeah. So any advice you have, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's see. Next week, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to talk about. I need to do some genealogy. I keep trying to get on and doing a little bit of something, but I've been having to plan this graduation. So that's pretty much been my focus. I might post some pictures from that day on Instagram, let you know how it went. But yeah, I will think of something, and I will bring something. Hopefully it'll be more I don't know, exciting to you than this was. But I hate talking about my mother and narcissism, but it's almost therapeutic for me to talk about it. I don't really get to talk about it a lot. My sisters will talk about it some, but my husband really hates talking about my mom, and so I don't really get to talk about it a whole lot. I have been learning, though, that a lot of my negative self-talk is probably from growing up with the way that she was towards me. I have a lot of negative self-talk. I'm really, really hard on myself. Unfortunately, I'm also kind of hard on other people. I'm not mean to other people, but I expect, I have high standards for people, but I have much higher standards for myself, internally. And so, but because I don't always measure up to that, I am hard on myself. And I was watching, there's a new series on Netflix. I think it's just 3 episodes. I haven't finished it yet. I just started the first episode when I ate lunch, but I had to stop it. And it is about the 7M cult. It's a religious cult. And my brother-in-laws and my husband have always kind of joking, but kind of not, I referred to my mom's church as being like a cult, and hers is more like it's like a family cult. The more I've studied that, the more I see the similarities. And watching that documentary has really, it really opened my eyes even more, because the guy that headed that up, I don't know, he's much more straightforward with coming out and saying things. And my mom is a covert malignant narcissist, so she's very much a roundabout backdoor way of saying something. She never just comes out and says, I am the, closest one to God that there is, but she implies it. If you ever were to listen to her sermons, right before I left the church, it was one of the very obvious things to me. She would always come out and present things like that everyone in the congregation, the handful of people that were in the congregation, needed to do, this, and this, but, well, she does it more than anybody. We all need to read our Bible, but she reads it like hours a day, and she falls asleep listening to it, and she watches this and this and this preacher, and you could never possibly read or pray or do as much as she does. And so she must be the closest person to God that you know. And so what she says must be from God, right? And that's how she presents herself. And this guy was kind of like that. Now, he was way more upfront about it, to the point that I'm like, I can't believe some of these people fell for that. But he didn't start out just coming out and saying these things. He kind of like warmed them up first. And to the point where they thought if they went against him, they were going against God. And that is very much the mentality that, having been in my mom's church for a while, that I had. And I've noticed I still have those negative thoughts about myself, even after I haven't gone there in 5 or 6 years, and I still have that negative thought, like, well, I'm not a good enough Christian, I'm not doing enough, I'm not this or not that, and like down on myself for it. But watching that made me realize, like, all of that is from when I was listening to her. That, I mean, obviously, we could all read our Bible more. We could all do things like that better. But none of the self-talk that's going on in my head is actually true. And definitely none of it is from God. And so that, watching that documentary only made me realize, I don't know, I need to get some kind of deep programming book or something to read, because, the people that have come out of cults like that, where someone is controlling your thinking and leading your thinking so much, like, they have to go through something like that, or you stay mentally stuck in that. And that's kind of how I feel right now after watching that. It kind of opened my eyes to maybe what's going on in my head around all of that. So there was one lady, she's the one that really opened my eyes to it. And she was one of the ones that was closest to him, but that he used the worst. And she got out, but even to this day, she is mentally kind of stuck in that she's scared she's going to hell because she went against him. And that is horribly sad that she still thinks that. I don't believe that. I have read enough of the Bible on my own that I know that that is not true. But I do know, based on just how my mind works, that there's probably some work I need to do there. Yeah. So has anybody ever dealt with anything like that? I'd love to hear from you, because this is all, even though I've been dealing with it for a few years now, it's still very new to me. I've never dealt with anything like this. Never thought I would have to deal with anything like this. So yeah, like I said, any advice would be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm gonna sign off today, but I hope you come back next week. I will have something, and it'll be good, I promise. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will be back next week. Bye.